Muy buenas noches, Dirk. Gracias por estar en el canal. Bienvenido, es un gusto. Es una amplia carrera que tú tienes, pero vamos a hablar sobre cómo es la evolución de su trabajo, involucrarse en pelis de acción, más que todo en las del justiciero, que bueno, considero que es algo impactante.
Jhon, welcome to the channel. Jhon was telling that you got a wide career, and hopefully we will talk and not only about the makeup. I got some questions about another thing. But Jhon, want to ask you, how do you see the evolution in the action genre, mostly of the Equalizer movies, Grey Saga, but whatever you want to tell us about doing makeup and action, go ahead.
Most of those films that I worked on that were action films, at least over the last 20 years, I was working for Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger at KMB. And I was more of a lab tech. I seldom went on set. I would be one of the guys behind the scenes that would build the gags. So if someone got shot or got their arm cut off or their head smashed in, like a lot in Walking Dead, I would be part of that group that would, of like 20 to maybe 30 people that would construct all the effects for that. But it wasn't that I just did action. I anything that came in the door, they would just come to me and say, "This is what we're building. This is when it's due. Either figure it out or we have a way." And then I would construct whatever was needed as part of a group. Most effects art, special effects art, is a very communal creation, in that you have a person that's a sculptor, a person that makes the mold, a person that does the silicone and the gags. I did a lot of the silicone and the gags, and then it would be handed off to someone else that would do seaming, painting, hair, and then someone else that would take it onto set. So I was definitely part of a great group of artists that worked on like Equalizer and things of that nature.
I understand the part that you see that you take any genre, because I was surprised seeing the credit that you got on Challengers. But yeah, I do remember the scene of the station and the wounds. But most people don't think that, oh yeah, it's like a drama movie, it's like a sports movie, but not every kind of movie needs that equipment, yeah, of people. Yeah,
agreed.
Was surprised.
Yes.
Obviamente, tú sabes que él hace parte del equipo que trabajó con Nicotero y Berger. Dice que no solo Equalizer, Jhon. Por ejemplo, The Walking Dead. El equipo dice que el trabajo de maquillaje es un trabajo colectivo. Entonces, que por ejemplo, a alguien le arrancan un brazo en The Walking Dead. Entonces, existe un equipo gigantesco que tiene que empezar a hacer toda esa cuestión. Listo, bueno, el maquillaje, el peinado. Entonces dice que pues trabajó, tú sabes, con los mejores, pero que no solo de Equalizer, dice que incluso en el género que lo llaman. Entonces yo le dije que a mí me sorprendió ver en sus créditos a Challengers, pero pues mucha gente se le olvida que en esa película hay heridas, en esa película. Entonces él dice que exacto, que no importa el género que lo llamen, el maquillaje es un trabajo colectivo, y pues obviamente estuvo con los mejores, ¿sabes?
Excelente. Bueno, Papu, tú sigues.
Now it's my turn, man, and okay. I'm happy. Well, let's talk about the past and then the present, because I got surprised reading your IMDb. Well, let's talk about the past. Man, it's crazy because you started in one of my favorite genres, that is the video clip, but not also doing makeup. I know the Offspring. A lot of memories, man. But you also acted. It's crazy to know that you are the She's Cat in Sunshine in Aerosmith, and you appear in one of my favorite videos that it says "Lost the Bed," man. So, what memories do you got in the? Because those videos were like in the golden age of video clips, you know, the 90s and the 2000s. Mm-hmm. I miss those days. So, how was working on the MTV days, we can tell. And later I got another question about music, but let's start with video clips.
I loved working on music videos, Aerosmith, Korn, Marilyn Manson, all of those. The thing I really liked about those is that it would be like a concept to creation within 3 days. So they would come to you and say, we want this on Monday, and it shoots on Wednesday. And you would stay up all night Monday figuring it out. Tuesday, you would work on it all night. And then Wednesday morning with no sleep, you might get a Red Bull, and then you would go to set with it and then work like 16 hours. I loved the creativity. I loved the turnaround. Everything was so fast moving. And then going and set and working with a lot of those performers like Manson or Korn or Aerosmith or anyone. It was just a lot of fun to meet those guys, because when they found out that you were the makeup artist, almost all of them were horror fans, and immediately you would have that connection, and you would start talking about your favorite films and your experiences, and they would want to know about, like, oh, did you work on this? Or, oh, I love this movie, or I love, George Romero's zombie films. Oh, me too. And there would be such a great connection. There's such a connection between heavy metal and hard rock music and the horror genre. And I love both. So I really miss doing music videos. It's such it's like a short form of just wonderful imagery and inspiration. And then it has a great soundtrack because it's a music video. But that was one of my fun. I mean, I started in 1989, and in about 91 or 90, well, actually 1991, I did my first video for Megadeth called Hangar 18. And I was working for a company called Art and Magic with Richard Schnell and Chris Biggs. And I met so many friends on that, and I connected so well with the band because they, like I said, they all wanted to talk about horror films, and they were such fans of the genre that I really miss the days of music videos. I wish it was as popular as it was in the 90s.
And before I translate, made me happy because I read the credits of my play of the Slipknot. I didn't know that you worked on Hangar 18. In which music video of Korn and Manson you worked?
Manson was Dope Show. And we did stuff for the Mechanical Animals album. And Korn was, oh my God, I can't even remember what it was. I did two things for Korn. One was, we created like the spider webs and all for one of their music videos. And then, Jonathan.
Somebody, someone?
I'm sorry?
Somebody, someone?
It could have been. I don't remember. We're talking like 30 years ago, but, and then Jonathan, the singer, hired me to come to his house because they were playing Ozfest that year, and he wanted me to create a zombie that was going to be like a puppeteer. So when they came out, he would look like he was being puppeteered by like a zombie or death, basically. And so I had to create this whole zombie face, and we had to do we spent all night working at his house to create this illusion that he was being puppeteered by death. And was there another one that you wanted to know about? I don't remember.
No. I got another question, but before I translate, two trivias about the channel. You're right, there's a great connection between horror and metal. In fact, we got the director of the documentary, The History of Horror and Metal. He's a great guy, by the way. I don't remember the name. Jhon, ¿cómo se llama el director de la historia del metal y el horror? Cuando lo consigues, me lo das. And the second one is crazy because we got Bonnie Adams. She appeared on the Dot Show before all the non days. She's the crazy. I will translate, man. You made me happy, and I got another question, but yo tengo more question. Pues Jhon, hiciste el hombre más feliz del mundo. Él empezó a trabajar desde el 89, pero en el 91, 92 él lo llamaron y mira, ¿qué puedes decirle a tu nuestro amigo? Michael Shields es el director de Horror and Heavy Metal. Él hizo un videazo, le puedes decir incluso a Dit, que es el de Hangar 18 de Megadeth. De ahí en adelante, él vino a trabajar con un montón de bandas de metal y rock. En la indie no hay ni el 1%. Trabajó para Korn, De hecho, trabajó para Marilyn Manson en The Dog Show, el video donde sale Bonnie Adams al final. Para Korn hizo 2 cosas. Incluso hizo el zombie, un concierto. Dice que extraña esos días, que era 16 horas de trabajo, tomarse un Red Bull y hágale. Y Jhon, te vas a sorprender. Entonces, no sé si sigues tú o sigo yo. Okay, Jhon gave me the honor to do the next question. And the most surprises when I was reading the IMDb, and then I found out, and those bring me to my COVID days, because let me tell you, in the COVID days, I was the administrator from a group about avant-garde and prog metal. In fact, I want to send a big hi to this guy. You can send a big hi, you can tell them, because, man, I didn't know that you were the vocalist of Bad Acid Treatment, and it's crazy because in Radio Music, I don't know if you know, in Radio Music they qualify the band as an avant-garde band, not as a grindcore band. So, man, two things. Anything you want to tell us doing that, and at the end, not now. At the end, I will ask you a favor to send a big hi to the followers of avant-garde and prog metal, because I know they will be, man, those people are, the fans of the grindcore and the avant-garde are crazy. I don't know how they do find the craziest band ever, and they love it. So let's tell us, and Jhon got more questions. So continue.
So about Bad Acid Trip.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a band that my friend and I started in 1989. We're still playing. We just finished tracking our newest album. So it's to celebrate our 36th anniversary. This album and the last album we record at the band The Melvins. They have a studio, and we use their engineer Toshi Kasai, who is he has like wizard ears. He's amazing. Any band out there, I recommend you try to get a hold of Toshi Kasai at Sound of Sirens. He's an amazing musician and engineer. When we first started in '89, we were much more of like a noise band, more like a Anal Cunt or something like that. And then in like '95, we started kind of becoming a lot more of grindcore. And everybody in the music industry takes themselves so seriously. And we always thought, why? Like, have fun. It's art. Okay. It's art. It's metal. It's grindcore. It's noise. It's supposed to be fun. I mean, when you're dancing, you're like running around. And we always kind of made light of the situation. And that unfortunately garnered us a lot of backlash because metalers are very serious about their music. Anyway, a lot of people are very passionate about their music, which is fine, because music is like the creation from the soul. If you're honest about it, then what you feel is so close to you that you do get defensive. In about 2003, we had come up with a band called System of a Down, and they started getting very popular. And Serge and Darren both came to us and said, look, Serge said, I'm starting a label. I'd love you guys to be on it. I've always been inspired by your music, which was awesome because we were inspired by them as well. They were a little bit outside of the main metal genre at the time. They were a little bit avant-garde. And then Darren said, I would like to produce your album. So we went with Darren. We recorded our album called Lynch the Weirdo. And then we toured for about 3 years supporting that. The last tour that we did for that album was Ozfest in 2006. We got to play with, we got to support, like, Ozzy Osbourne was on. We were the main support before Ozzy came out. And for any metal kid or punk kid, that is a life that is amazing for anyone to be able to, like, as you're walking off, he's walking on, and you're like, don't look him in the eye. Don't look him in the eye, because he's like a god. I mean, he's just a guy, but he's perceived as just such an amazing man, an amazing artist. And after that, at about 2008 and 10, we our drummer left, and we got our old drummer back from the 90s, a guy named Carlos Neri. and him and my bassist Caleb Schneider, we decided we lost our guitarist. We weren't ready to get a new guitarist because the guitarist that we had, we were really tight with for years. So we decided to move forward. And for the last 15 years, it's just been the three of us, making music, touring, putting out albums. And it's been a blast. I mean, it's hard to believe that I get people that come up to my shows now and they're like, I saw you when I was 12 years old, and they're like in their 40s now. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's really weird when you become old school and because your hair goes gray. But when the kids come up and they're adults and they have their kids with them and they're like, I love your music, blah, blah. It's very humbling and it's amazing. So I love grindcore. I love avant-garde music. I love elements of prog. I love music. I just love music. It's the art of the soul. And for a lot of us, our soul is bathed in darkness. So that is why we create music that is so antisocial, I guess.
And yes, at the end, I will ask you the favor to do a salute to my old friends on Avant and Prod. 2 things before I translate. Man, sure. It's great that you are recording with the guys of Kimbuso, man. Kimbuso for me, Kimbuso is like Ozzy, the Melvins. And 2, it's great. I also find out that you worked on the art or something of the Summit band. But let's continue. I got no Jhon got more questions.
Sure.
You made me happy. Jhon, seré rápido. 36 años llevan tocando la banda Badass Trip. Fueron ahí a quien los grabó, a ti que te fascina. El sello discográfico es System of a Down. Wow. Cuando empezaron, tocaron le abrieron a Ozzy Osbourne, dijeron que le pasó lo mismo casi tú sabes, la escena de no me mires a los ojos así. Ahorita están grabando en el estudio de Kimbuso, no de Kimbuso, de Melvins, del ingeniero de sonido. Y nada, me hiciste feliz. Al final yo les pido el saludo. Y sí, él dice que la risa cuando hay fans que decían, yo te escucho desde los 12 años y ahora tengo 40, pero que sí, que ama ser avant-garde y grindcore. Y eso que ellos lo odian al principio.
Sí,
mire, te tengo la noticia, ¿no? Se viene el nuevo álbum de ellos.
Qué bueno, ahí primicia, como nos gusta. Ahora sigue, en este tema de zombies, yo solo quiero saber sobre su perspectiva de trabajar con Greg Nicotero o Berger. Y la pregunta es el tema de ¿qué harías en un apocalipsis zombies? ¿Correr o esconderte?
Okay, it's great to know that the greatest were here, Nicotero and Berger. So Jhon is asking how does it feel working with them in the zombie genre, and also if the zombies apocalypse happens, what you will do, run or hide?
Okay, first, working with them was great. I really enjoyed working with the crew at the time when we did Walking Dead. It's very inspirational to work with people that are all not only just like-minded, but are incredibly talented, and you kind of feed off each other. I was one of the 7 people that actually worked at KMB for the entire run of the original Walking Dead. I was there at the very first episode. I was there at the last episode, and so many incredibly talented artists came through the doors and contributed something. And it was so much fun to work with those people, learn from those people, contribute with them, work next to them. You get okay, we got to cut off this guy's arm. How do you want to do it? Well, I would do it like this and this and this. And someone else would say, well, it's going to be shot like this. Okay. And then we would sit there and work on that. And that is, any kid that grew up as a Monster fan, like my inner 5-year-old is like going, yeah, zombies. So I had an incredible time working on Walking Dead. Sometimes we wouldn't get as much information as we needed to create the effects that Greg would want or the production would want. And it would be left to us to kind of decipher what we were told and what we would come up with. I was always proud of the effort that we all did together in our shared compassion and love for trying to create really cool zombie effects. And in response to what would I do for a zombie apocalypse, I would probably, it depends on if it was fast or slow zombies. If they're slow zombies, I would probably be going out a little bit more, because unless you get stuck by a horde, you're probably okay. If they're fast, like Return of the Living Dead or 28 Days Later, I would probably run and armor myself up, because they're so quick and so agile that they would have more of a chance to overpower me. I would certainly fortify my house. But if the government was going to start bombing places to try to take out the zombies, because I live in Los Angeles, I would probably head for the hills, because they would probably bomb Los Angeles because it's such a big city. So it would depend on what kind of zombie apocalypse it was. Slow, I would stay where I'm at. Fast, I would armor up and probably head for the hills.
And before I translate, I still hate myself, because in the first day of the channel, Jhon got Blue Temple, but I wasn't the translator. And I did show up, and of course, we talk about those old days, man, you know, the old days of The Walking Dead. And Jhon, I still congratulate Jhon. One of the first guesses was Sander Berkeley, and I loved how became that character, man. And Don, you made part on the rating. I will translate. Jhon, pues esto me recuerda a los primeros días del canal. Le dije que obviamente que todavía me odio por no haber estado en el de Blue Temple, que estuvo Sander. Jhon, era un equipo, digamos que a veces eran 7 personas, obviamente, Howard y Greta ahí. Hay que cortarle un brazo, ¿cómo lo hacemos? No, así. Él dice que para un fan del terror, eso es lo más emocionante, por eso él gritó. Dice que él se siente orgulloso de haber estado, y tú sabes, en los primeras The Walking Dead, o sea, los mejores, tú sabes. Por eso te digo que Liu y Sander. Y él dice que no, si es un apocalipsis zombie con los zombies lentos, él sí no va a correr, porque él sabe que los va a detener una horda, pero si son los de 28 días después regreso de los muertos vivientes, nada, fortifica la casa, se va corriendo, pero él dice que se va a armar bastante para enfrentarlo si no logra huir.
No, increíble. Si tienes otra pregunta, es increíble. A mí me dejó ya feliz. Y también felicitar.
Yo al final pido el saludo. Estoy feliz.
Es que es increíble, no solo en Machete, sino también en tema de... Hay una película que se llama, si no me acuerdo, es de vampiros, que se llama Hombres Lobos en la Noche, que es la de Disney.
Uy, ¿tienes el nombre en inglés? Consíguela, por favor.
Werewolves by Night.
Okay. No, Jhon, this is not a question. Jhon was telling, because he, like myself, we are like speechless. But Jhon was saying that he congratulates you for your work on Machete, and also a small movie. And I love when Jhon mentioned it. That is Werewolf by Night.
Oh, Werewolf by Night. Yeah. Okay. Machete. I loved working on Machete because I love Danny Trejo. But Machete was a lot of fun. Very low budge, but all the effects, like creating the little baby Machete, was amazing. And then working on the second one, Machete Kills, it was so much fun. The thing about KMB is when you're working at KMB, you're not just working on 1 film or 2 films. You're working on like 5 films plus like 3 TV series at one time. So you kind of, it's like you're working on Walking Dead for an hour, and then you work on Machete, and then you work on Interview with a Vampire or something like that. Working on Werewolf by Night was, for me, a lot of fun because I'm a big comic book fan. I have been since I was a little kid. And when we created the man thing, the giant, the creature, that was one of the high points for me because I had always wanted to see that in life, and the sculptor Mikey Rotella that did such a phenomenal job on that it was an honor to be a part of that show, just because to have the man thing on there and to see that first really true interpretation of the classic comic character brought to life. Even though they ended up CGing over a lot of it for the show, but I mean, we created that whole thing, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. Making monsters is so much fun. My 5-year-old self constantly is like poking me going, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this. And I'm like, I know, I love this. So yeah, I really love what I do. And I'm very lucky and honored to have been a part of so many great productions in my life so far. And those Machete is definitely one of those. I've been a fan of his since I saw Danny Trejo's. I've been a fan of his since I saw him in Robert Rodriguez's films. And Werewolf by Night, I love the Werewolf by Night comic with Jack Russell. I love the Man Thing, and to be able to bring both of those into the physical world was a great honor.
Pero rápido porque sé que está acabando el tiempo. Nada, haré gusto. Dice que lo que más le gustó en Machete, aparte de trabajar con Danny Trejo, va a ser el bebé Machete. Creo que eso te gustó. Y dice que cuando trabajaba en ese equipo era hacer al mismo tiempo Machete, The Walking Dead y un montón de proyectos, ¿no? O sea, como 12 cosas. Y Jhon, ¿a ti te gustó el monstruo, la cosa de Werewolf by Night? Dice que fue lo que más le gustó hacer, que fue un sueño para él.
No, man. Qué locura. Ya por último, ¿cómo defines su trabajo en una palabra?
Okay, time is running off, but you can schedule the question that Jhon always does. Try to define your work in one word.
Define my work in one word? One word. Just my work? I would say fun. Fun.
Yes. Divertido in Spanish.
People of Colombia, avant-garde, prog metal. Thank you. Muchas gracias. I love all of you. And I hope you enjoy the art that I create. And I thank you for giving it time. And you are all my brothers and sisters, as we are all one on this planet. But even beyond that, we are one in our love of art and our love of music and our love of horror and fantasy.
Y antes de guardar la foto, sí, obviamente felicítalo por, hombre, se me había olvidado, casi se me olvida, Splice.
Te iba a pegar un cocotazo. Jhon say that before this interview ends. No, it's not a question. He also congratulates you for the work in another masterpiece that is Splice.
Oh, yeah. I love Splice. Splice is a great horror film. The team worked really hard on that. We made, all the weird fleshy turkeys and all the creatures and all. I really love Splice. I love anything that is body horror, anything that's like a science horror, and Splice kind of brings both of those together. Thank you. Gracias. It's a great film.
Jhon, el cocotazo era por no recordarte. No, dice que le fascinó porque combina horror y terror, que es lo que más le fascina. Body horror, dice que un equipazo.
Body horror y también de cosas de fantasías. ¿Te acuerdas la película de Charles? La de la piedra mágica. Esa también.
Claro, ay, que a ti te fascina.
Me fascinas.
Yes, and Jhon also loves the shorts, the movie for the stunt, the magic stunts. No, but man, you need to come back another day. That was amazing. What a beautiful interview.
Thank you. Anytime, hit me up. I would love to.
Que cuando quiera, Jhon, si lo quieres volver a tener.
Muchas gracias por la oportunidad, por el espacio. God bless you. Take care.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, amigo.
Chao, chao.
Bye, bye. Peace. Bye, bye.